What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Common Sense Football Show and welcome to today's show. Arsenal back to winning ways with a convincing 3-1 victory over Chelsea at the Emirates. Listen, to be honest, Chelsea are shit. So it was pretty obvious that Arsenal were going to win that game despite coming off their recent poor form and the spanking that we received from Manchester City last week. But that game yesterday was won within 30 minutes. Arsenal putting on a clinic. Granit Xhaka with 2 assists, Odegaard with 2 goals, and Gabriel Jesus with 1 for 3-0. The game was done in the first half. Chelsea were absolutely pathetic. Pathetic. They did show a bit more something about them in the second half, but Arsenal were basically playing that game like a training ground game, not really going for it. Just, they won the game, just going through it. Madueke scoring the consolation goal. To be fair, he was a threat throughout the game. He looks like a bright talent, quite a good player, to be honest. And when Modric came on, he was quite impressive. He's not worth £80 million. But, he was a bright spark when he came on. He done a lot more than Sterling did the whole game. Sterling just looks finished. I don't know what's happened to him. There have been little links linking Sterling with a move to Arsenal. Please, no. He just looks gone. But, yeah, it was an easy victory for Arsenal, putting us on top, back on top of the league for the time being. So, over to Manchester City. Listen, I'm still a little bit hopeful. There are some games that I think that City could be susceptible to losing, especially with the semi-finals against Real Madrid and the final in the FA Cup against Manchester United. Maybe they might be a little bit susceptible to dropping points in the Premier League. But that was a very important game for Arsenal to win yesterday. And we have a massive game again against Newcastle this week at St James's Park. Arsenal have to win that game as well, but that's going to be a very tough game. Chelsea pathetic. Lampard pathetic. 6 games, 6 losses. But the thing that annoys me about it is that Lampard doesn't seem to be getting any flack. I mean, I was watching poor Graham Potter getting slagged off from pillar to post by the sports media, by pundits, by fans. The poor guy, he wasn't having much support in the football world. I was a supporter of Graham Potter because I think that it's important that English coaches get top jobs domestically and abroad at the big clubs. And he earned the job, He done his apprenticeship. He worked through the levels. He done brilliantly at Brighton, making them a solid Premier League club. And he got the move to Chelsea, promised a long-term contract. He had no support from the sports media. He had no support from pundits. He was being ridiculed. The fans turned against him. He was just, he was made the scapegoat of the club. When he inherited a mess, and it was made more of a mess by Chelsea's crazy transfer policy. They sack him, Lampard comes in, and it's worse. At least with Potter, they looked like they were going to win games. They looked like, they had a style of play about them. They looked like they could do something, They looked like there was something fathomable to hold on to in terms of a playing style, in terms of something. They just couldn't put the ball in the net, but they were creating the chances. With Lamps, they're not even creating any chances. Pathetic. He is a rubbish manager. He failed at Derby, he failed at Chelsea, he failed at Everton, and he's failing at Chelsea again miserably. 6 losses in a row. He's only got the job because he's Frank Lampard, and through certain links with his friends and family. And he isn't getting called out for being crap. He's crap. Frank Lampard isn't even a championship manager. He is completely and utterly clueless. League One is his level, and that would be lucky. So why are they not calling it out? Poor Ralph Ragnick, when he was at Manchester United, he wasn't as bad as this, but they were slagging him off from pillar to post, mocking him. He's not a manager. He's, all this rubbish. But he done all right. He done a lot better than Lampard. What is it? I don't know. Do you have to have an English passport? Does it have to be jobs for the boys sort of thing? Because that's what it looks like from what I'm looking at when it comes to certain British sports media and pundits. It looks like that. They ain't gonna slag you off if you know certain people, your family with certain people, and you got a British passport. Because Ralph Rangnick got absolutely slaughtered. Unai Emery, when he was at Arsenal, despite being a success at Arsenal, got absolutely slaughtered. And Graham Potter got absolutely slaughtered. All better managers than Lampard. Completely unfair. But Frank gets away with it. Because he's Lampard and he knows this person and he done this when he was a player. Total crap. I'm going to call it out. He's rubbish. He's shit. And he doesn't deserve a job in the Premier League. And I hope after this, no Premier League manager, no Premier League club will hire him. Because if they do, they'll be mad. Mad. As for Arsenal, we're back to winning ways. Over to Manchester City. But we have to do our job and win our remaining games. I want to give a big shout out to Granit Xhaka, man of the match performance. He was exceptional. And also, Jorginho, he was replaced by what looked like a tired Thomas Partey. And Jorginho was fantastic in that holding midfield role. I would like to see Jorginho and Thomas Partey together at some point. Whether that's going to happen, I think that would be good. Maybe away from home, going to Newcastle. That combination might be useful, quite solid, and give us the defensive stability and also the ball carrying going forward as well to get a result at St James's Park. So Manchester City won a tight game on a weekend against Fulham. Manchester United beating Aston Villa in a tight affair, and Liverpool beating Spurs in a dramatic game at Anfield. Spurs are not going to get the top four. The top four looks pretty set. Manchester United, Newcastle, Arsenal and Manchester City. Spurs, they are in disarray also. You know, I don't know where they're going to go from here. Who are they going to appoint? No one knows what's happening at Spurs. With Chelsea, it looks pretty certain that they're going to appoint Pochettino. But if they're going to do it, they need to do it soon. It makes no sense to wait to the end of the season. Get him in now, so he can have a chance to work with the squad, give his vision to the hierarchy, see who he wants, see who he doesn't want, because he has to trim that squad down to at least to a maximum of a squad of 26. They've got about 35 players. They need to get rid of about 9 to 10 of these players on big money, on big wages. So he needs to get in now to start the process for his vision. And that would be a good appointment for Chelsea Football Club. So, in other football news, according to reports from Fabrizio Morano, it looks like the deal with Bellingham and Real Madrid is edging ever closer. According to what I've read, terms have been agreed and Bellingham is excited by the Real Madrid project, and this deal is edging ever closer. It also said this week that Liverpool were not out of it for Bellingham. So if they're going to make their move, they have to make it pretty soon, because it looks like Bellingham will be playing in Madrid in the white next season. Surprisingly, Sam Allardyce has replaced Javi Garcia as the manager of Leeds. Under Javi Garcia, Leeds were pretty rubbish. So getting rid of it made sense. Whether or not Sam Allardyce has enough time to keep them in the league is going to be yet to be seen. I don't know. It looks pretty tight. There at the bottom. Allardyce is an experienced manager, but he might be past his best. Maybe with his pragmatic, defensive, direct style, that might be enough to get Leeds through. We're going to have to wait and see. But Leeds have appointed Sam Allardyce as their new manager, trying to keep themselves in the Premier League. So guys, I'll be back again tomorrow for another video. Please leave the comments about the topics discussed today. Smash the like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.